Yo, what it do? Right, we are looking at Vigilant Guardian on Heroic Feral POV. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of the fight, and then at the same time, I'm going to kind of just talk about what I kind of did from a Feral POV. So just use your CDs on cooldown. Just go through the normal Feral Druid opener, right? And we're gonna start with our cooldowns on pull. I think I managed to get 3 berserks in total, I believe so, because it's like a 7-minute-ish fight. Week 1 anyway. Obviously this will probably shift as time goes by, but I think the energy gauge for this guy is pretty much locked in, so it'll more or less be the same time every time, except when the boss does come out of its hole eventually, the fight will probably be quite a bit quicker. But yeah, so this fight basically is like a very basic intro boss. You have to clear these waves of trash that come out quite slowly. They could probably speed that up a little bit. And then you just have to dodge a series of mechanics. You see those big automated defense matrix that we were just targeting on. When those are activated, basically we need 3 of those to activate and die. When they die, they drop an orb. We take 3 of those orbs into that central wall unit, and eventually then the boss will come out. So until then, we're basically just killing waves, and I'm more or less using things on CD. It's not worth ripping here on anything except for maybe the sentries. I think the sentries are probably the only thing of value. You can maybe use like a 2 combo point rip on the volatile materiums, but I really don't think it's actually that high value because they die so quickly. Now, a couple things you want to look out for is when the energy bar of the boss, which you can see at the top of the screen here, is almost full. That's when the boss is going to do its mechanics, so you want to move into this defense matrix. After this defense matrix event is over, that's when the orb is going to drop. So that's what you want to be careful of. But this is basically like the first segment of the fight. I'm using Convoke on cooldown. I'm using Tiger Fury on cooldown. Basically just half-assed hitting whatever the hell we can. So you don't really get a good, solid, proper rotation on any one thing. Even these defense matrix here, I mean, I rake it. Still got 9 seconds on rake when it dies. So just kind of do the best that you can. One mechanic that you do want to look out for that's really going to specifically target you is if you do get that beam on you that we just saw there. So you can see in a moment, I think it's the de-resolution. Oh, no, sorry, no, it's not. It's this beam here, which you can see. It may actually be the de-resolution. I think that is the de-resolution. Yeah, I think my DBM is just scuffed. But that's an ability where if you get targeted with that, you just want to move out of the group of your raid and just let that mechanic unfold, which you can see here. A bunch of these hexagons get put down and then they start exploding. So if you get targeted with that, just be mindful to move out of the raid. Apart from that, the trash itself doesn't really do anything too difficult to, you know, like too worrisome. The sentry, however, does do, you can see one coming over now. These sentries do a frontal tank mechanic. So try your best not to be in front of these mobs and always, you know, be away from your tanks, because if you are hit with this frontal tank mechanic, again, is this hexagon, which is, you can see there, just did it, which if you're standing in that and they explode, then you're gonna die. So just be careful not to stand in those. But we can speed this up now. So we go through 3 phases of that, basically. And then eventually, out comes the boss. Back it up a little bit. Out comes the boss once we've done 3 waves of that, which is super simple stuff, super basic. Very easy first boss. We then go on to the Guardian itself. It spawns at 40% health. And it has a soft enrage mechanic at 15% health. So you want to save Bloodlust on this fight until around about like 17-ish percent, 15% if you want. And then you just send it and blast all cooldowns and just kill the boss. Now, I used Berserk here. I think when the Guardian spawned, I believe. Oh, no. So like quite a bit. So I used my second use of Berserk. And then when we're on the boss, I don't actually have Berserk on pull, but I'm going to get it back by the time Bloodlust hits. So this, for me, was a 3 Berserk fight. Of course, using Convoke on cooldown. Now, the only other mechanic you need to look out for is this right now that you can see there with the massive amount of hexagons which are coming up, which is Matter Dissolution, I believe. And then as well, there's going to be a mechanic that targets, I think, like several players. You can see people with the arrow here on their head. You can see one at the bottom left of the screen here. There's another one over here somewhere. Those people have to move out of the raid group. You can see someone with a yellow marker here. They have to move out because then what's going to happen is a bunch of these hexagons are going to spawn on that player, and they're going to slowly move to the location that the player was standing when the mechanic detonates. If you get hit by those, you die. So just be very, very careful not to do that. Now on Mythic, the only way I see this boss really changing is because Vigilant Guardian is out during the whole of the fight. And I don't know if that's going to be a case if he spawns with 100% health, and then you have to slowly try and trickle him down through the stages. So I'm not actually sure on that myself, but yeah, it's a pretty simple boss. I don't see it causing too many issues. The main thing that you need to worry about is it's a 3 berserk fight currently, and you just convoke on cooldown. Apart from that, don't really try and establish rips and stuff on AoE ads. I wouldn't really stress about that. It's not really worth it. The only other thing is the talent setup, which you would play this. You could, in theory, play Primal Wrath, but I don't think it's worth it. Mobs die too quickly to gain much value. Probably better just to play with Brutal Slash. And that's basically the setup for this boss. Hopefully this was a helpful guide. This is a very easy boss. The other ones will be obviously a lot more in depth because they're just better bosses. But hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if I missed anything. And yeah, good luck in killing the boss. Thanks for watching.